Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Snowbeck. Today we're going to review Unit 3 and get ready for the quiz. So for each question today, you will pause the video, try the problem yourself, and then unpause the video and I'll work through it and you can see if you got it right. So go ahead, pause the video, try number 1. So you can see that this is an isosceles triangle. It has two sides that are congruent. You can tell that by these tick marks here. And so the 3y minus 1 equals the y plus 11. Those two sides are equal or congruent. Subtract your y. 2y minus 1 equals 11. 2y equals 12. Y equals 6. Now always go back and see if that's the final answer. It says find y and the lengths of all three sides. So this is part of the final answer, but not the final answer. You're going to need to plug that 6 in for each of the sides. So for this one up here, it's going to be 3 times 6 minus 1, which is 17. For this one, it's going to be 6 plus 11, which is 17. Which is good because we wanted those two sides to be congruent and they're both 17. And then finally, we're going to do 4 times 6 minus 9. So 24 minus 9, I think, is 15. And then we are done. Please pause the video, try number 2. So in this triangle, there are two congruent angles. If I go across from those angles, I'm going to have congruent sides. Two equal angles means two equal sides. So the 2x minus 10 will equal the 20. You don't need to use the 24. Add your 10. 2x equals 30. X equals 15. And I think we are done because it just says solve for x. Please pause the video, try number 3. So what I've drawn here is an equilateral triangle, WXY, where all three sides are equal, equilateral. And then I'm going to label the stuff. So from W to X is 6x minus 12. From X to Y is 2x plus 10. And from W to Y is 4x minus 1. And we have to solve for x and the length of each side. So since all three sides are equal, I can just pick two, any of the two. I'm going to pick the 6x minus 12, and I'm going to set that equal to the 4x minus 1. Again, just pick two of the sides. It doesn't matter which two. Solve it for x. So I get 2x minus 12 equals negative 1. Add my 12. 2x equals 11. Divide by 2. X equals 5.5. That is part of my answer. But now I also have to plug it back into each of the sides. So I'm going to have to plug it in here, and here, and here for all three sides. So 6 times 5.5 minus 12, I think turns out to be 21. And 4 times 5.5 minus 1 is also 21. And 2 times 5.5 plus 10 is also 21. So 21 are the side lengths. Please pause the video and try number 4. I decided to start by finding angle 1. These two angles up here are a linear pair and they add up to 180. So 180 minus 72 is 108. So angle 1 is 108 degrees. To find angle 2, I could use the triangle on the right. The three corners in every triangle must add up to 180. So if I take 180 minus the 108 and minus the 38, if I subtract both of those, I believe I get 34 left for angle 2. So this one down here is 34. And then on the other triangle on the right, I'm going to take this red triangle, and those three corners should add up to 180. So 180 minus the 72 minus the 42, and leaves me with 66, I believe. So angle 3 is 66 degrees. Please pause the video, try number 5. So there is a rule that says the two remote interior angles add up to the exterior angle. So the 27 and the x are the two remote interior angles. They're the two angles inside the triangle that don't touch the 93. So if I add them together, it should equal the exterior angle, which is 93. Subtract 27, x is 66 degrees. Please try number 6 and then unpause when you're done. You're going to use the same rule here. The two remote interior angles, so these two angles right here, will add up to the exterior angle. So 3x plus the 4x minus 10 will equal 123. 7x minus 10 equals 123. Add your 10. 7x equals 133. And I just used my calculator. If I do 133 divide by 7, I get x equals 19. And we are done. Please try number 7. This will be a 2-column proof. When you're done, unpause the video. So you can see I've set up my 2 columns, statements and reasons. The first statement every single time is to copy down the given information. So angle F is congruent to angle J, and side FH is parallel to side GJ. The reason I know these things is because they were given to me. Now I usually like to go back and look at that given information, and you can see angle F and J have those little red curves, so they are congruent. And side FH is parallel to side GJ. They have those red arrows on there, so you can see they are also parallel. We're going to try to prove that side FH is congruent to side JG. Not just parallel, but congruent. So what I'm thinking we need to do is we need to actually prove the 2 triangles are congruent first. And if we can prove the triangles are congruent, then all of their corresponding parts also have to be congruent. So I'm looking at the triangles, and I see so far I have 1 angle. I need some more stuff, right? So I see side GH. Segment GH in the left triangle will be congruent to segment GH in the right triangle because everything's congruent to itself. And that's called the reflexive property of congruence. So now I have 2 things. I have an angle and a side. Those parallel sides, so I'm seeing like this side is parallel to this side and this transversal cuts through, that gives us some alternate interior angles. And since the lines are parallel, those 2 angles must be congruent. So angle FHG has to be congruent to angle JGH. And the reason is because they are alternate interior angles and the lines are parallel. Haha, I now have enough to say the triangles are congruent. I can say triangle FHG is congruent to triangle JGH, and I have to like line those up in corresponding order. And the reason I know they are congruent is because angle, angle, side. In the triangle on the left, I have a red angle, a double blue angle, and a side. And then the same thing in the triangle on the right. I have a red, a blue, and a side. Now that I know the triangles are congruent, I can finally prove segment FH is congruent to segment JG. Now notice this is up at the top. This is the thing I'm trying to prove. That will always be my last statement. And the reason I know that's true, it's because corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So because in step 4 I said the triangles were congruent, then in step 5 I can say their parts are congruent. Number 8, given side BD is congruent to BE and side BA is congruent to BC, name a pair of overlapping congruent triangles in the diagram and state the reason why they are congruent. So you can see you have overlapping triangles, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull them off of each other. So the first triangle is going to be triangle ABE. So you can see, I'll just kind of outline it right here, ABE. I just redrew it off on its own. Now I'm going to do the second triangle. The second triangle in red here, I'm going to redraw that one, and that one is BDC. Okay, now I'm going to go back up to the information at the top. Side BD, which is right here in the red one, is congruent to side BE. I'm going to put tick marks on those. At the top, it told me those were congruent. Also, side BA, so this guy, is congruent to BC, this guy. So far I have side, side. Now I'm trying to prove that these triangles are congruent, and so I need one more thing. And I'm thinking about angle B. Look at angle B up here. Isn't it in both of the triangles? Here it is in the blue one, here it is in the red one. It will be the same size in both of the triangles. Haha, this means I have two congruent triangles. Triangle ABE is congruent to triangle, and now I have to get the corners to match up here, so I think it's going to be CBD, and it's because of side, angle, side. So you can see I have a side from here, an angle, and a side, and they match up in both triangles. Please pause the video and try number 9. So you don't have to go in any particular order, but I see right away, I think I can find angle 4 using this bottom triangle. So what I would do is I would go 180 minus the 28 minus the 57. And for angle 4, I wind up with 95. So 95 degrees left for angle 4. The one across from it will also be 95. So that might help me find angle 6, because then I can do 180 minus 95 minus 36, and I can use that triangle up here at the top, right? And those three corners have to add up to 180. So when I do that, I get angle 6 is 49. So this is 49 degrees. Angle 5, I can use these two angles right here. They're a linear pair. So 180 minus the 95, I believe, leaves 85. So angle 5 is 85 degrees. And now I can use this triangle in green on the right, and the three corners there must also add up to 180. So 180 minus the 85 minus the 42, if I subtract those two corners that I know, then for angle 7, I am left with 53 degrees. Please pause the video and try number 10. So this is where you have to list all the congruent sides, all the congruent angles. So angle C is going to be congruent to angle S because they're listed first in both of those. Angle B is congruent to angle M because they're in the middle. And angle X is going to be congruent to angle L because they're last in each of those spots. Next, I'm going to do the sides. So side CB, segment CB will be congruent to the first two letters in the other triangle, segment SM. Side BX, so that's the second and third letters, that will be congruent to side ML. And then side CX is congruent to side SL. So name all the congruent sides, got them right here. Name all the congruent angles, got them right here. Please pause the video and try number 11. So I see the parallel sides. These extra arrows mean that the two sides are parallel. So if these are parallel and the transversal cuts through, that means this angle and this angle are congruent because they're alternate interior angles. So if I just erase all my mess here, what I end up with is, so what I wind up with is an angle, another angle, and then I need one more thing. And just because the sides are parallel doesn't mean they're congruent, but I'm thinking of this side in the middle. Isn't that in both triangles? So that side will be the same length in both triangles. So I have angle, angle, side. And then in the other triangle, I have angle, angle, side. So this is yes by angle, angle, side. So that's it for our video. Will you please now try worksheet Unit 3 review? If you get stuck, let me know. And then when you're done with that, you can do the Unit 3 quiz. Remember, when you take the quiz, it's better to go through Safari to get to Schoology. The app has been glitchy, so better to go through Safari, go to the Farmington homepage, and then on the right, you can click on Student Login to Schoology and go in that way. It will work much better for the quiz. Have a great night.